Seniors, 4 nuts. You should never eat, and 4 nuts you must choose. Instead, Health Aura. Know it right. Live it light. We've all been told for years that nuts are healthy, that they're heart-friendly, full of good fats, and the perfect snack. But here's a truth most people never hear, especially after turning 60. I'm Dr. Mohit Kara, and after more than 3 decades helping older adults regain their energy, clarity, and yes, even their performance in the bedroom, I've seen firsthand how the right foods can restore life, while the wrong ones quietly drain it away. The reality is, some of the most popular nuts sitting in your kitchen right now could be doing more harm than good, causing inflammation, raising your blood pressure, clouding your memory, and even interfering with medications or damaging your kidneys. And yet, they're often eaten daily under the illusion of being healthy. At the same time, there are 4 specific nuts that offer powerful support for your circulation, brain function, blood sugar balance, and even sleep. Natural remedies that become even more essential with age. But unfortunately, they're rarely part of the average senior's diet. In this video, I'm going to walk you through all 8, the 4 healing nuts you should enjoy every day, and the 4 troublemakers you might want to avoid starting today, all backed by science and tailored to the way your body works after 60. And stick with me to the end, because I'll be revealing the single most dangerous nut of all, the one linked to memory loss and liver damage, and it might be sitting in your pantry right now. This isn't about fear, it's about clarity, and giving you the knowledge you need to make smarter choices for your health, your energy, and your future. Because after 60, your body changes, your needs shift, and what once worked for you might be quietly working against you today. So if you're ready to stop guessing and start knowing what truly supports your well-being, let's dive in and set the record straight. Your body will thank you for it. 1. The nut that rekindles the fire within, unlocking nature's hidden code for male vitality. Picture this. You wake up in the morning, not groggy, not dragging yourself to the coffee maker, but clear-headed, energized, and ready. Imagine your body humming with a quiet strength, your mind sharp, your moods balanced, and your confidence quietly radiating from within. This isn't the promise of a miracle drug or the latest overpriced supplement trend. This is something more primal, more ancient, and far more powerful than most realize. Deep in the Amazon rainforest grows a humble, overlooked nut. To the untrained eye, it's just a snack. But to the aging male body, it's something else entirely. An ignition switch. For decades, science has whispered about the power of selenium, a trace mineral with an outsized role in the male endocrine and nervous systems. But whispers are easy to ignore, until you see what happens when the body is starved of this critical element. Fatigue creeps in, memory dulls, the fire of motivation flickers, muscles feel weaker, moods get darker, and libido, once a natural force, becomes a memory. Most men chalk it up to aging, but what if it's not just age? What if it's depletion? And what if replenishment could begin with one simple step? A single Brazil nut contains more selenium than any other food on the planet. Over 130% of your daily requirement in just one bite. But it's not just the quantity that matters, it's the quality. The selenium in Brazil nuts is organically bound, making it exceptionally bioavailable. Your body recognizes it, absorbs it, uses it. Selenium acts like a spark plug for your thyroid, the master regulator of metabolism, energy, mood, and memory. As we grow older, thyroid activity often slows, leaving us feeling colder, slower, heavier. But selenium revives it from the inside out. And it doesn't stop there. For men, selenium is crucial for testosterone synthesis. Low testosterone isn't just about performance. It's about muscle retention, mental clarity, sleep cycles, and drive. A lack of it dulls your edge, a quiet deficiency that robs you of your former self without fanfare. But a steady source of selenium, natural, consistent, unprocessed, can help reverse that erosion. Brazil nuts also feed the nervous system, preserving the myelin sheath, the protective layer around nerves that determines how fast and clearly your brain communicates with your body. Aging weakens this shield, but the right nutrients rebuild it. The result? Faster reflexes, smoother movement, sharper thought, and a renewed connection to your physical being. This isn't a theory. It's a natural fact, one that remains mostly ignored in the noise of trendy health hacks. One Brazil nut a day is not hype. It's ancient intelligence rediscovered. It's a ritual, a quiet, powerful recalibration of your core systems. And this is just the beginning. Because once your thyroid, testosterone, and nervous system are awakened, there's another nutrient-packed nut waiting to restore your bones and protect your brain. But well, get to that next. For now, remember this. One small act, done daily, can change everything. 2. 2 almonds a day. The unseen guardians of your strength and sanity. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine a version of yourself not slowed by time, but steadied by it. A version where your mind stays clear, your steps confident, and your body quietly resilient against the wear of age. It may sound like wishful thinking, but the truth is, some of the most powerful protectors of your long-term health don't come in a prescription bottle. They come from nature, disguised as something so ordinary we forget to respect it. Almonds. Not just a snack, not just an afterthought in trail mix, but rather a deeply intelligent food designed by nature to defend 2 of the most vulnerable pillars of aging: your bones and your brain. Long before research backed it, ancient cultures revered almonds for their sustaining power. And today, we know why. With age, your body begins to withdraw from its stronghold. Bones, once dense and unyielding, begin to soften. Neurons, once rapid and decisive, start to misfire. This silent decline can begin in your 60s and accelerate faster than most people realize, unless you intervene. That's where almonds step in. Just a small handful contains a unique synergy of nutrients that support the architecture of your skeletal system. Calcium builds, magnesium guides, and manganese reinforces. But magnesium is the true gatekeeper, making sure the calcium you consume doesn't calcify your arteries or wander into soft tissues, but finds its rightful place in the hard framework of your bones. Without enough magnesium, calcium becomes a rogue element. But almonds contain both, in nature's perfect ratio, making them a rare dual weapon against frailty. And then there's your brain, the seat of your identity, your independence, your will. As oxidative stress increases with age, the neurons in your brain become vulnerable to inflammation and breakdown. This is where the thin, papery skin of the almond hides its secret weapon: flavonoids. These plant compounds, combined with vitamin E, act like elite bodyguards for your brain cells, sweeping away damaging free radicals before they can wreak havoc on memory, focus, or clarity. The synergy between almond skin and its inner core is subtle but profound, and studies suggest that regular almond consumption can slow age-related cognitive decline in a measurable way. But there's more to this nut than what science can quantify. Almonds also bring comfort through consistency, through ritual. Their fiber helps regulate digestion, a hidden key to energy and emotional stability that's often overlooked in the elderly. When your gut is balanced, your mood steadies, your sleep improves, and your whole system runs more efficiently. I often recommend just 15 to 20 raw, unsalted almonds a day, taken slowly, chewed mindfully. Let each bite be a reminder that you're not just nourishing your body, you're reinforcing the foundations of your future, your strength, your independence, your peace of mind. With every almond, you're casting a quiet vote for vitality. And as your bones grow stronger and your thoughts more lucid, you'll begin to realize it's not just a nut. It's a decision, one that rewrites what aging looks and feels like, from the inside out. 3. Walnuts a day. The ancient key to mental clarity, restful sleep, and cognitive resilience. Imagine this: your thoughts flowing freely, your memory sharp as ever, and a sense of calm that carries you effortlessly from day to night. No struggle to find words, no forgotten names, no restless hours staring at the ceiling in the dark. Now imagine that this clarity, this peace, this grounded awareness could begin with something as simple as a handful of walnuts. Not a pill, not a synthetic booster, just a natural, time-honored food whose shape mimics the very organ it protects. There's a quiet intelligence to walnuts that goes beyond coincidence, a kind of design that whispers ancient wisdom. The human brain, soft and intricate, craves nourishment that can match its complexity, and walnuts rise to meet that challenge. For centuries, they've been revered in traditional medicine, not just for their nourishing oils, but for their effects on the mind. And today, modern science finally confirms what intuition always suspected. Walnuts are a complete brain food. Inside each nut lies alpha-linolenic acid, or ALA, a plant-based omega-3 fatty acid essential for maintaining the structure of brain cell membranes. As we age, these membranes naturally begin to degrade, slowing the transmission of signals between neurons. The result? Foggy thinking, forgetfulness, and a subtle sense of disconnection. But ALA helps reinforce those fragile bridges, allowing your brain to function more fluidly, more youthfully. Yet that's only the beginning. Walnuts also contain a potent array of polyphenols, antioxidants capable of crossing the blood-brain barrier to directly calm inflammation in the brain's delicate tissues. Why is this important? Because inflammation is not just a symptom of cognitive decline. It is often the cause. Chronic, low-grade inflammation disrupts communication between brain cells, erodes memory, and sets the stage for dementia. But the compounds in walnuts are uniquely suited to intercept that process, reducing oxidative stress and supporting the brain's natural repair systems. The research is compelling. In clinical trials, older adults who added walnuts to their daily routine showed measurable improvements in mental flexibility, processing speed, and memory retention. These are not abstract benefits. These are the difference between following a conversation with ease or getting lost in it, between recalling where you placed your keys or retracing your steps for hours. And there's more, a gift within the gift. Walnuts contain naturally occurring melatonin, the hormone that regulates your sleep-wake cycles. As we age, our natural melatonin production declines, making it harder to fall asleep, harder to stay asleep, and harder to wake up feeling refreshed. But the gentle addition of a few walnut halves in the evening can help restore your body's natural rhythm, guiding you into deeper, more restorative sleep. I recommend 7 to 9 walnut halves a day, ideally raw, and kept refrigerated to preserve their fragile oils. Don't discard the thin, slightly bitter skin. That's where many of the most protective compounds live. With every bite, you're not just feeding your body, you're defending your mind. This is not about instant transformation. It's about quiet preservation, a daily act of devotion to the most irreplaceable part of you. Your memories, your clarity, your sense of self, all held, protected, and nourished by a single, unassuming nut. 4. Pistachios a day, the subtle shield for your heart, vision, and blood sugar balance. Let's imagine for a moment that the most powerful form of daily protection doesn't come in a bottle, a clinic, or a prescription pad. It comes quietly in the form of something simple, something ancient, something green. Not flashy, not famous, just wise. Imagine holding in your hand a tiny capsule of calm. Nutrient-dense, deeply grounding, and quietly working behind the scenes to support your blood pressure, protect your vision, and stabilize your blood sugar all at once. That's the power of pistachios. Most people walk right past them on grocery store shelves, drawn instead to louder trends and more colorful packaging. But those who know, those who've seen what these humble nuts can do, never overlook them again. Inside every pistachio lies a complex blend of minerals, antioxidants, and healthy fats that your body recognizes and responds to instantly, especially as you age. Start with the heart. After 60, your cardiovascular system becomes more reactive. Your arteries stiffer, your sensitivity to salt heightened, and your blood pressure more difficult to regulate. But pistachios offer one of nature's purest sources of potassium, delivering more per ounce than most fruits and vegetables. Potassium helps relax blood vessels, ease tension, and offset the effects of sodium. A quiet but powerful ally in your daily battle against hypertension. Then there's your eyesight, that delicate window between you and the world. As years pass, the cells in your retina become vulnerable to oxidative stress and harmful light exposure. But within pistachios live two rare carotenoids, lutein and zeaxanthin. These compounds don't just circulate, they accumulate, embedding themselves in your eye tissue, forming a living filter that protects your vision from age-related decline. It's not magic, it's maintenance, and pistachios provide it naturally, day after day. But perhaps the most surprising gift pistachios offer lies in the way they influence your blood sugar. For millions navigating diabetes or prediabetes, blood sugar spikes can be sudden and exhausting. Yet pistachios, with their unique mix of fiber, protein, and healthy fat, slow digestion and steady insulin response. They help your body process carbohydrates more gently, reducing those energy crashes and swings that steal focus and vitality. And there's something more, a psychological grace hidden in the shell. Unlike other snacks, pistachios ask you to slow down. The act of cracking each shell becomes its own form of mindfulness, giving your body time to signal fullness, reducing the chance of overeating without willpower or measurement. The growing pile of empty shells becomes a soft reminder of satisfaction. I often recommend 1 ounce per day, about 49 pistachios, unsalted or lightly salted, ideally still in the shell. For those with limited hand strength, choose the naturally split ones for easier access. With every shell you open, you're not just enjoying a snack. You're reinforcing a system. You're lowering your pressure, sharpening your vision, leveling your sugar, and reclaiming a sense of control. Pistachios are more than food. They're a ritual, a rhythm, a whisper from nature reminding you that resilience doesn't have to be loud. It just has to be consistent. 5. The hidden dangers in your snack bowl. The nuts that work against you. Not all that appears wholesome is truly healing. Some foods wear a disguise, smooth shells, natural labels, promises of energy and heart health, but beneath the surface, they may quietly be fueling inflammation, disrupting your medications, and clouding your clarity. Especially after 60, when the body becomes more sensitive and less forgiving, even small choices can have outsized consequences. And while certain nuts act like silent healers, others may be slowly chipping away at your well-being without you ever suspecting. In this next section, we'll pull back the curtain and expose the nuts you should be avoiding, the ones that may be sabotaging your health with every handful. 6. 1 peanut a day? Why this common snack may be quietly sabotaging your health after 60. Picture this. You reach for a handful of peanuts, thinking it's a smart choice, something crunchy and satisfying that fits the image of a healthy, heart-friendly snack. You've seen the labels, heard the talk. Protein-packed, natural, full of good fats. It feels like a harmless habit, even a good one. But beneath that familiar crunch lies something most people never suspect, especially as they age. The truth is, peanuts are not what they seem. They're not true nuts at all, but legumes. And that one simple fact changes everything. Because of how and where they grow, underground in warm, humid conditions, peanuts are uniquely vulnerable to a toxic mold called aflatoxin. You can't see it. You can't taste it. But it's there, hiding invisibly in many conventional peanut products, especially those that aren't rigorously tested or properly stored. And over time, this toxin can quietly burden your liver, stress your immune system, and in some cases, raise your long-term cancer risk. As we get older, our natural detox systems slow, our resilience softens, and even low levels of environmental toxins can have greater consequences than before. But the risks don't stop there. Even if your peanuts are clean, they still carry a darker potential: systemic inflammation. Many people, especially seniors, experience a low-grade immune response to peanuts. Not an allergy, not something dramatic, but a subtle and chronic inflammation that builds slowly, like embers beneath the surface. This can worsen joint pain, raise blood pressure, fog your memory, and add fuel to heart disease, all without you realizing the source. And if you're reaching for salted roasted peanuts, the danger increases. Most commercial brands are loaded with sodium. Something over 60% of people over 65 are actively trying to avoid due to high blood pressure. Add to that the presence of hydrogenated oils and sugars in many packaged peanut products, and that healthy snack becomes a disguised threat. Even the natural peanut butters aren't entirely innocent. Peanuts are high in omega-6 fatty acids, which, when consumed in excess without enough omega-3s to balance them, create a pro-inflammatory environment inside the body. This imbalance is linked to poor circulation, cognitive decline, and decreased recovery from illness or injury. issues that aging adults can't afford to overlook. And for those on common medications like blood thinners, peanuts can interfere with absorption due to their vitamin K content, making an already complex medication regimen even harder to manage. This isn't about fear, it's about awareness. A peanut here or there won't unravel your health. But if it's become a daily habit, a regular part of your routine, it may be time to reconsider. Because there are better options, safer, cleaner, and more supportive for the aging body. The kind of options that nourish, rather than sabotage, your strength from the inside out. 7. 2 cashews too many. The sweet-tasting trap that could be quietly sabotaging your health. After 60. Imagine reaching for a soft, creamy cashew, the kind that blends smoothly into your morning smoothie, adds richness to your stir-fry, or finds its way into that so-called healthy granola bar tucked inside your purse. It feels wholesome, even luxurious. Cashews wear the perfect disguise, mild in flavor, gentle on the palate, and praised as a heart-friendly snack in so many health food circles. But what if that soft texture and subtle sweetness were actually hiding a series of risks that grow more serious with age? What if this popular snack, often assumed to be a health food, is quietly undermining your blood sugar, your kidney health, your digestion, and even your safety? For many older adults, that's exactly what's happening. Cashews are what I call a gentle deceiver. They seem innocent, less oily than other nuts, easy to chew, pleasant to eat. But under the surface, they carry several metabolic and mechanical challenges, especially for those over 60. Let's start with blood sugar. Unlike truly low glycemic nuts like almonds or walnuts, cashews contain a higher amount of carbohydrates, about 9 grams per ounce, which gives them a surprising glycemic lift. That means they can raise blood glucose faster than most people realize, especially when consumed in blended or processed forms. And for the nearly 3/4 of older adults who are either diabetic or pre-diabetic, these subtle spikes add up. You don't feel the damage as it happens, only the fatigue, brain fog, or unexplained changes in your lab results later on. But that's only the beginning. Cashews are also high in oxalates, plant compounds that bind to calcium in your digestive tract. This makes it harder for your body to absorb the calcium it needs to keep bones strong, already a major concern in aging bodies. But worse, those oxalates don't just pass through. They accumulate. In time, they can contribute to the formation of kidney stones, small, sharp crystals that cause immense pain and are far more dangerous for older adults. Then there's a risk many never think about until it's too late: choking. Cashews are dense, curved, and deceptively smooth. For seniors who experience even mild swallowing difficulties, a common but often unspoken part of aging, cashews pose a unique hazard. Their shape makes them easy to aspirate, and their soft crunch can lull people into eating too quickly. Among all nuts, cashews rank among the highest in choking-related incidents, a risk that's rarely discussed. And finally, there's their origin story. Raw cashews are toxic, containing urushiol, the same irritating compound found in poison ivy. To make them edible, they must undergo extensive processing: steaming, roasting, peeling, chemical exposure. In that transformation, much of their nutritional content is lost, and what remains is often a shadow of the food's original form. Tasty? Yes, but nutritionally diluted. So while cashews may taste comforting, their long-term effects are anything but. That's why I urge my patients, especially those over 60, to pause before tossing another handful into their blender or snack bowl. There are better options, nuts that nourish rather than burden, that protect rather than provoke. The key is knowing what to look for and having the clarity to make the swap. Because what seems like a small habit, a few cashews here, a few more there, can ripple through your health in ways you never expected. 8. 3. Macadamia nuts a night. The indulgence that may be secretly weighing you down. It starts so innocently. A few creamy golden macadamia nuts after dinner, maybe as a reward, a signal to the body that the day is winding down. Their smooth texture, rich flavor, and luxurious feel make them seem like the perfect healthy indulgence. They're praised in magazines, sold in upscale markets, and whispered about as the elite choice for heart health and keto-friendly living. But what if behind that soft bite was a slow and quiet drift in the wrong direction? A kind of nutritional mirage? Because, for older adults, especially those over 60, macadamia nuts may be doing more harm than they let on. The issue isn't poison or allergies, it's accumulation, hidden consequences that build one tiny handful at a time. Macadamias are calorie-dense and fat-rich, almost unmatched in the nut world. Just a single ounce contains nearly 200 calories and 22 grams of fat, mostly in the form of monounsaturated fat, but also a surprisingly high 3 grams of saturated fat. And while fat itself isn't the enemy, its effect in the aging body, paired with a slower metabolism, reduced lean muscle mass, and less daily movement, creates the perfect storm for what I call silent weight gain. You don't feel it happening. There's no binge, no obvious overindulgence. Just a few extra calories slipping in day after day, until suddenly your belt is tighter, your joints feel heavier, your blood pressure edges upward, and your energy begins to dip. And unlike other high-calorie foods, macadamias rarely bring satiety. You can eat several without feeling full, making them deceptively easy to overconsume. But their weight on the body doesn't stop at the scale. Their high saturated fat content may also raise LDL cholesterol in some individuals, especially those genetically predisposed to heart disease or managing existing cardiovascular issues. What once felt like a heart-healthy choice can quietly begin to undermine the very organ it was meant to support. Then there's your gallbladder, an organ that many seniors barely think about until something goes wrong. High-fat foods like macadamias can trigger gallstone movement in people who didn't even know they had them, leading to sudden bloating, sharp pain, or in severe cases, emergency surgery. And we can't ignore the dental risks. Macadamia nuts are among the hardest nuts to chew. For anyone with crowns, bridges, or weakened enamel, a reality for many older adults, these dense little snacks can lead to cracked teeth or damaged dental work, often requiring costly and painful repairs. So while they might look and taste like the ultimate upgrade to your evening routine, macadamia nuts carry a heavier price than most realize. They feel light, but they land heavy. And for those looking to age with ease, clarity, and strength, there are far better options. Foods that satisfy without sabotaging, nourish without burdening, and support your health instead of slowly chipping away at it. 9. 4 pine nuts too far. The tiny ingredient that can disrupt taste, medications, and stability. After 60, it's easy to overlook. Small, unassuming, almost elegant. You sprinkle them on a salad, blend them into pesto, or find them baked into an artisan loaf of bread. Pine nuts seem like one of those refined, healthy touches that elevate a dish. But what if that soft little seed, barely larger than a grain of rice, was quietly interfering with your body's balance, distorting your sense of taste, disrupting how your medications work, and even leading to dangerous, unexplained weight loss in later life? Most people, especially older adults, have no idea how problematic pine nuts can be. They slip under the radar precisely because they're rare, delicate, and often associated with gourmet or health-conscious meals. But for the aging body, these tiny seeds can carry consequences far greater than their size suggests. I remember one patient in particular, Ruth, age 74, sharp-minded, committed to her health, and always exploring new recipes. When she came in with a strange complaint, "Doctor, even water tastes metallic," we began the usual workup. Meds, hydration, dental health. Everything looked fine. But then she casually mentioned a new obsession: homemade pesto, loaded with pine nuts. That's when the puzzle came together. Ruth was suffering from pine mouth, a delayed reaction some people experience after eating certain varieties of pine nuts. It's not an allergy, and it's not immediately dangerous, but it causes a bizarre metallic or bitter taste that can linger for days or even weeks. And while that might sound like a minor nuisance, it has serious downstream effects. When food and water taste unpleasant, seniors often eat and drink less, without even noticing. Appetite drops, hydration falters, and over time, this can lead to unintentional weight loss, weakness, and even malnutrition. But the risks don't stop with taste. One of the more serious, lesser-known issues with pine nuts is how they interact with medications. Certain compounds in pine nuts can interfere with the enzymes in your liver that metabolize common drugs, especially those used for managing blood pressure, cholesterol, and mood. For seniors juggling multiple prescriptions, even a slight shift in how the liver processes these medications can result in reduced effectiveness, unexpected side effects, or dangerous fluctuations in blood pressure or emotional stability. And then there's inflammation. Pine nuts are high in polyunsaturated fats, which in theory can be healthy, but they're also fragile. These fats oxidize quickly, especially when exposed to air or light for too long, as is often the case on store shelves. Once oxidized, they flip from helpful to harmful, promoting rather than calming inflammation. For those managing arthritis, joint stiffness, or inflammatory conditions, this can worsen symptoms and increase daily discomfort without a clear cause. Finally, there's the physical risk. Pine nuts are small, smooth, and slippery, easy to aspirate, especially for older adults taking medications that cause dry mouth or those with age-related changes in their swallowing reflex. I've seen this firsthand in patients who developed serious complications after inhaling just one tiny seed. That's why I often advise my older patients to simply avoid pine nuts altogether. The risks, though subtle, are real and compounded by age. There are countless other ways to enjoy flavor and healthy fats without compromising your safety or stability. Because food should heal, strengthen, and protect, not undermine you in silence. 10. The final turn. How one small choice can awaken strength, clarity, and vitality at any age. Close your eyes and picture the version of you that feels just a little lighter, more clear-headed in the morning, steadier on your feet, calmer in your mind, more connected to your own energy. That version is not far away. In fact, it may be one choice away. One decision repeated daily, like a quiet signal to your body that says, I'm still here, I still care, and I still want to feel alive. The truth is, aging doesn't come crashing in all at once. It whispers. It unfolds in subtle changes. Your energy dips, your sleep gets lighter, your memory becomes just a little harder to trust. But what I've learned after sitting across from thousands of men and women in their 60s, 70s, and 80s is this. Those whispers can be reversed, even silenced, when you start listening to what your body truly needs. That's what this journey has been about. Not just which nuts to eat and which to avoid, but how these small, everyday choices form the foundation of everything else. Your strength, your memory, your heart, your sleep, even your intimacy. We're not talking about fads or quick fixes. We're talking about biology, chemistry, a real-time response that your body gives when you feed it what it recognizes, what it can use, what it has been quietly asking for. 4 nuts that act like natural medicine. Brazil nuts for your thyroid and testosterone, almonds for your bones and brain, walnuts for your memory and sleep, pistachios for blood pressure and blood sugar. 4 daily allies that work in harmony with the changing rhythms of your aging body. And then, the ones to avoid. The so-called healthy choices that quietly do harm. Peanuts, cashews, macadamias, and pine nuts. They don't scream danger, but they erode your progress slowly, triggering inflammation, interfering with medication, promoting weight gain or unwanted loss, and leaving your body confused, inflamed, or depleted. But knowledge is power, and now you have it. What you do next matters. Because no matter how many years you've walked this earth, your body still listens. It still responds. It still heals. I've seen it happen more times than I can count. The man who made a single swap in his snack routine and watched his blood pressure drop. The woman who added 1 Brazil nut to her morning and felt her energy slowly return. The couple who began sharing walnuts after dinner and started sleeping through the night again. These weren't accidents. They weren't miracles. They were signs, proof that your body is not finished growing stronger. So tomorrow, when you walk into your kitchen, don't just go through the motions. Pause. Remember what you've learned. Make one small choice with great intention. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to do it all at once, but you do have to begin. And when you do, everything else begins to shift. Your clarity, your vitality, your sense of control. This is your invitation to re-enter the story not as someone who's fading, but as someone who's just beginning to thrive. It's never too late to feel like yourself again. Start with the nuts. Let that be the first of many quiet victories.